Welcome everyone to the Worst Fans Podcast, episode 2. And today I'm here with Rhett and Buck. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
And today we are going to be talking about Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange. We're going to be doing
Multiverse of Madness,
Doctor Strange. Exactly. That's
It's
what
like the Lost World Jurassic.
Multi Madness Doctor Strange 2. Yep, that's what it is. So we're going to be talking about our personal ratings of the movie and our thoughts, and maybe later on in the podcast we're going to do a spoiler section. So if you don't want to watch that, you can go ahead. I'll leave a little banner on the top right to click away so nothing is spoiled for you. So in the meantime, let's talk about our personal ratings of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And I give it an 8 out of 10. That is my personal rating for it. What about you, Buck?
At first I had it at a 7 out of 10. It moved up a little bit to a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. All right.
Point.
What about you, Brett?
Right. If I'm going with a 10-point scale, it's an 8. It's an 8. And I'll just let you know, my highest is a 9 in the Marvel. In the MCU, my highest is a 9. And really, there's 2 9s, but one of them is my personal favorite. So
okay.
That's me.
I see.
Yeah. 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and 7.5. Buck is the lowest. We'll start with you, I say.
Okay. So I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very well made. I thought Sam Raimi did a pretty good job. I thought the acting was good, especially from Elizabeth Olsen.
Yes.
Right? Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Yes, Elizabeth Olsen. I thought she was probably the highlight of the movie. I thought she was amazing. She reminds me of a young Michelle Pfeiffer in her prime. Ooh. That's the feel I get from her. I like the way they introduce the idea of the multiverse. Basically saying like when you dream and you're a different version of yourself that's actually you dreaming about, and I love that idea. I find it so fascinating. You know, parallel universes, multiverse, that is a great, like, it just excites me, you know. So I love the way they kind of played into that.
You know what I thought of when they said that? Remember in Avengers Infinity War when Tony Stark is talking to his wife. I can't remember the name for the life of me right now.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yes, Gwyneth Paltrow. Yes, but in the character.
Pepper Potts.
Pepper Potts. Thank you. When he's talking to Pepper, and he goes, you know that dream, whatever. I had a dream. We had a kid. His name was Morgan. It felt so real. So that was a different universe where it was their life was perfect.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. So all that was great. So are we talking about our negatives too, or just what?
We can talk about our negatives. Yeah, it's our overall rating of the movie.
What made your rating what it is? Yeah.
So my issue I had with the movie was that for it being the Multiverse of Madness or whatever, it just was, the scale was actually pretty small. It wasn't that big of a movie that I think most people thought it was going to be.
Yeah, fair enough.
Especially coming from, I mean, we're talking about Loki and What If, even Spider-Man No Way Home. They all talked about the multiverse, and I honestly felt like I got more from those films and those shows than I did here. Not that that's a bad thing. It just felt as a, you know, it's a multiverse movie. Correct. It didn't really go that deep into it. But that's honestly, that's my biggest complaint. There's not a lot that I didn't like about the movie. So that's, to sum it up, that's the reason why I give it a 7.5. I just thought the movie was going to have a lot more. It was going to be bigger than it was. That's right. Basically. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So 7.5 out of 10. That was a decent review. Yeah. Rhett, what are your thoughts? 8 out of 10.
It sounds like we feel on the same. I just, maybe I walked out a little more excited. We've kind of had some pregame. Me and him talked a bit about what excited him more. What you said there, though, gave me pause. And I'm like, you're right. After watching Loki, which is, I guess, multiverse, but it's really more like time verse, like different timelines, which is a different verse in a sense, right?
Yeah.
That was off the, deep end. So many variables. This one had variables, but I feel like it was almost the equivalent of like one of the shows we've already seen now. And I get what you're saying. You almost feel like, hey, this is all built up to now the magnum opus of multiverse movies. It's in the title. It's in the subtitle.
Right.
But last night I felt okay when I watched it last night. It felt pretty good. I was, again, Elizabeth Olsen. she was great. I didn't know she was going to be as nearly as significant a part, but I like when they take a character that's supposed to be strong and they really like show it. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
they gave it to her. Um,
yeah,
we can get into some of the Illuminati situation later. I know we're
Yes.
not going to bring that up right
yeah,
now, spoilers, but that scene, a lot of people complain about that. I thought it just showed how, well, it shows how, how much of a badass she is.
Yeah.
So, well, also the Sam Raiminess of it, man, it felt so like Sam
Yes.
Raimi's
Yes.
movie.
Very Sam Raimi.
yeah.
You could feel the Sam Raimi all over that thing, and the music and the visuals, the voices, the creepy voices were like right out of the Deadites and Army of
Yeah.
Darkness and Evil Dead.
Yeah.
So,
That's it. I
It
think
did take
the
it did take me out a little bit sometimes. I have to admit, and I mean, for the most part, it worked. I thought, but there are
mm,
times where I felt like his kind of directing style kind of took me out of what I was watching an
that does
MCU.
happen. Yeah, and
But
you're right. And sometimes with
yeah,
people that either works or doesn't work for them. So it's interesting. It didn't. There's
yeah,
been movies I've seen in the Star Wars universe where I could feel the director pulled his strings and didn't give a crap about
that's
the vibe and the theme.
okay. Let's not go there today. It's
Ryan
yeah,
Johnson.
yeah, we're right. Yeah,
So all
awesome.
right,
All right. So
Uh,
that was your 8 out of 10 review, basically.
right.
yeah. I mean, roughly. I liked him. Okay, so my negative actually was the America character. I
America
kind
Chavez.
of it was
Yeah,
all right, but I'm like personally sorry, I don't know comics these days. I never heard of her. I didn't know she was
same,
real or they just made her up for
same.
this.
Yeah,
And
hmm
she was kind of the big focus. I have a feeling she's like the Reva for the incoming Obi-Wan movie. It's like here's a new character
yeah,
that's going to take as much screen time as the characters we really care about.
yeah,
She was like the foil in the whole thing.
yeah. You know what?
So I
Okay.
thought it was cool when she did her power. I was like, that's neat.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that's about it.
Okay.
I wasn't underwhelmed by the appearances. We'll get to that in a moment soon, but
Yeah.
because I was just face value from the trailer, I wasn't reading anything or
Right.
theorizing in my head. I just saw what I saw, and what I got was like way more than I got out of the trailer. So
Yeah.
there was one character they showed in the trailer. I feel free. It's safe to say Patrick Stewart as Professor X
Yeah. You
was
can
in
say
the
that.
trailer.
Mhm.
Well,
So
was
that
so
was
was
like
Captain Carter too. She was in one of the trailers towards the
really.
end.
She was
Yeah,
in
Uh,
a TV spot.
she was
Yeah.
right.
uh,
Right.
wow, I didn't see that. TV
Yeah.
spots I noticed always over the years give away way more
I
than the
stopped
trailer. I think
watching
it's
them.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, they're like they got to give it to you.
Yeah.
Get him in that theater quick.
Yeah.
The
So
trailer.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Go
so I was just, I mean, first of all, that was a mixing of another universe similar to how they did Spider-Man. So I was like, okay, they're really crossing paths here. So I'll stop there. Your turn.
okay. Well, my 8 out of 10 review. Again, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I thought it was great overall. Elizabeth Olsen, again, fantastic. I think this is probably my favorite movie that she's in when it comes to MCU. I think her acting was phenomenal.
She was a
Um,
standout for sure.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed the America Chavez character. I know you guys think differently. I mean,
Right.
I think it was an interesting put in. I mean, I think her in the movie was kind of a necessity, and she wasn't in previous comics before, so I feel like it's not they just put her in the movie just because.
She was,
Yeah,
you're saying?
yeah,
Okay,
she's been in previous comics before.
Yeah, I didn't know. So
Yeah.
to
that's
me, it
fine.
felt like she was just thrown in there, and I'm like, I'm supposed to care about
Yeah.
her. Why? But that's
My biggest negative I'd have to say about the movie, believe it or not, is actually Doctor Strange. I mean, for the movie being called Doctor Strange 2, it really wasn't too much about him. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, this is a Doctor Strange movie. It really felt more like this is a Wanda Maximoff movie.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I think
Yeah.
that's probably my biggest complaint. And there were a lot of scenes with Doctor Strange that I really didn't enjoy. Um, but yeah, again, we'll get into that later in the spoilers because we don't want to spoil too much. But I mean, the visuals, the music, the Sam Raimi, the like everything about the movie, I thoroughly enjoyed. When it
Yeah.
comes to the appearances, Rhett, you said you actually liked the fact that you were happy with the amount that you got. For
Yeah,
someone who was expecting more, I was okay with it at first, and then like I watched them like, man, they could have done a couple more, So
they could have done a couple more.
yeah,
Yeah,
so I don't want to get
That goes back to my complaint, the scale of the movie,
yeah.
which I thought would be a lot bigger than it was. That goes with right with who showed up and who didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I think it's a
yeah.
pretty good wrap up for an average review for the podcast. What was it? 7.75 out of 10, I guess, between all of us, or
yeah,
7.8 out of 10.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's pretty. I think on Rotten Tomatoes it has a 79 out of 100 or something like that.
Oh, we're
It's
pretty
a,
much
it's
on par with
and
Rotten
I and
Tomatoes,
I
man.
and I agree. I
Yeah,
honestly,
I agree
which
with
is
that.
rare that they Rotten Tomatoes actually matches what I think, but in this case, yeah, I think that's spot on actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's our average, basically. I mean, it's a little different, but I mean,
Yeah.
2 8s and a 7.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, a
very
7.5.
close.
Yeah, Buck had 7.5.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, 7.5 and 2 8. So
Yeah,
I mean, all
it's
you're
pretty
doing
close.
is
It's
it's a
pretty
Yeah.
close.
percentage versus out of 10,
It's
they're out
not
of
to me.
100.
It's not a top 10 MCU film.
No,
I don't think it cracks it, but it's
Ooh.
still. I mean, still really good.
I
It's
also don't consider it a top 10
solid.
MCU film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well that begs the question. I hate to do it now, but I mean, I don't know. I actually in my head mentally sort of put it in my top 10, but
Okay.
because
Well,
eight's
Well,
a high score for me. Eight's
you
a real
said
high score for me.
there's not a 10 for you, a 10 out of 10 for you in the MCU, right? You
yeah,
said
that's what he said.
For
so.
me,
Yeah,
That's
for you,
probably
he only has
yeah,
two
you're right,
nines. So
right?
if 8.
we
Only
got
have
two
two
nines.
nines.
Well,
So
I reserve tens. Look, I reserve tens for like a handful of movies only in all movies ever. So it's like very rare I would give out a 10. Empire Strikes Back, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future. There's like a few like classics, and Thor Ragnarok for me gets very close. That's one
that's
of
your
my two
favorite, yeah,
nines.
yeah, yeah.
And this is another weird one. I know we're getting off track here, but like I know Infinity War and Endgame. To me, it's like I'm sorry, it's just part one and part two of one movie. I
Yeah.
know they're different, but I call Infinity War Endgame one movie, and that's a 9.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
it's one story. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, it is one movie, but it's funny how I rate it. I rate Infinity War 10 out of 10. Honestly, that's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
And Endgame, it scored like at 7.5 as well.
Wow,
So out of 10.
really?
So,
That's kind of
yeah,
low for Endgame. Wow.
I know I have my reasons. I'm
Okay.
just
Yeah.
saying,
Well,
and
okay. Well,
I'm not saying it was a horrible movie, but
listen.
I just think the quality compared to Infinity War to
Well,
me,
maybe for one of the podcasts, we could do a
yeah,
list
I
of
was gonna
probably
go favorite.
our favorite, least favorite to favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe projects, including shows and TV. So I feel like we could do a tier list on that one day.
Oh yeah, there's TV now.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be a fun one. And
WandaVision
would we even include the Tobey Maguire series? Because technically he's MCU now.
Oh, that's crazy. I love that he's MCU now. So is
Andrew Garfield.
Garfield.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now, oh hey, so is the X-Men series, right? We got it, Professor
Yeah.
X in there now.
Yeah.
Throw it all in.
Well,
Hey, even Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Technically, I mean,
no,
he can be.
no, not yet.
When did that one come
Not
in?
If
yet.
they wanted.
Not
I'm
yet.
just saying. If
Not
they
yet.
wanted.
It's not official yet.
Murdoch's. Not
Official.
Murdoch's yet, but not Ben Affleck's yet. All right, so we're gonna
Well,
get into
Matt
the
Murdock. I don't know the actor's name, but you just said Matt Murdock's Daredevil.
Charlie Cox. Yeah,
That guy's
yeah,
Daredevil.
my bad. So we're gonna get into the spoiler chat now. So if you do not wish to get the movie spoiled for you, I suggest you click away and come back another time to watch the rest of it to discuss our spoiler topics, basically. So yeah.
John Krasinski is Reed Richards.
Yes.
That was
the most applaudable moment of the movie. Hands
that
down.
was the most surprising one.
I did not see that one coming.
Nope.
So, holy cow!
Yep.
No, I
was the
did.
best.
It was definitely one of the rumors that he would show up as
I
but
didn't
wasn't
hear it.
guaranteed.
I didn't hear
it,
that.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard it. I heard it.
See,
Yeah.
that's the question I've got. Where did you hear it? Because I've somehow managed to avoid this stuff, and I think it's for the better.
Look. From the YouTube channels that I listen to, John Campia and all these different. They're in that business where they know producers and know directors, and they hear stuff. So and
Sorry, I don't
sometimes they come true, sometimes they don't.
There's a lot of rumors I heard that like I just didn't believe anymore. Like Tom Cruise is superior Iron Man. I heard that one a lot.
That's the one I'm the most disappointed in because I
Yeah.
really wanted that to be, for real.
Like for real, yeah. What else did I hear?
Oh man,
Deadpool.
Well, anyway.
I heard Deadpool one time. And this one
Yeah,
possibly.
Deadpool, I never believed. I would have been like, oh God, no, please.
Yeah.
I mean, just to get back to it though, like when he showed up, I was just like, what? I was like, thank you. It was so many. It was just first of all like the huge shock, like no way they did it, and then it was like an appreciation. Like I want to be like Kevin Feige, where are you, man? Come here, let me shake you.
That was pure fan cast. There's pure fan cast. It was awesome.
They've been really like pushing for him to like be that character.
It's like Rosario Dawson. It's like there you go. You know what you're doing. Suddenly.
He wanted to be. Like, I remember in a talk show. I don't remember which one he was talking about, but like if he ever got the call to be Reed Richards, he's like, I'm down. I'm waiting for the call. You know what I mean?
Now to get his wife
As
Because we're like,
she
yeah,
has to be. She has to
it
be
has to
invisible
be.
one. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
That would be perfect. Yeah, the
Yes.
first family,
Okay.
And
Marvel's first family.
Professor X
Professor X.
and it looks like it was from the X-Men
Yes, it
animated
looks like it's
series.
from the animated series. Now, what I thought was interesting was
Okay.
when he said the quote, just because someone stumbles doesn't mean they're lost and they found their way. Professor X said that same thing in X-Men
Yeah.
Days of Futures Past when he was talking to his old self. Like word for word, he said that same way. So in my mind, I'm like, is this the Professor X from Days of Futures
Well,
Past? I don't think so. There's no way. This is totally different. That one's dead, correct? He died in Logan.
right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, go ahead, Book.
No, go ahead. I saw you
I
like
think it's the multiverse. It's a version of Professor X,
That
and they're
thinks
all
the
a
same
little,
way. Yeah.
they're all a little bit mixed. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, we got the theme, which I was stoked about when I heard that. I was like, there it
The
is.
That's
1990s.
what I was gonna say. We heard the theme,
The
and
chair.
he has the chair, that yellow
The yellow chair. Mhm.
chair that he
This
has.
was pointed out in a video I saw earlier today too. Is that it was rolling? It wasn't floating like it's. It wasn't
Yeah, it's
a hovering chair. I was
yeah.
like, well, that sucks. I didn't even notice that last night. I was like, really? It wasn't floating?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it definitely looked like the one from
The show, yeah.
Blue
Yeah.
Team comics. I mean,
Now I
and the
heard
show was based off of X-Men Blue. Yeah, like it was a
yeah.
comic series with that same design before it was a TV show. But
Yeah.
that was by far the best show. And I really got off on that because I have started rewatching that old series because it's on Disney Plus in the Saturday mornings with my cereal.
How
What I
many
do. I
seasons does that series have? 2?
think like 5.
5 or 2? I don't
Yeah.
know where I read somewhere, heard somewhere that the reason why they put that on Disney Plus recently is because since that is the Professor X from the Illuminati in the multiverse, they're gonna reboot that series.
They
They
are.
are.
And
It was
it's
announced.
announced, right?
It's
Okay.
announced.
So
It's called X-Men 97.
and that's gonna be like how they're gonna form the Illuminati, how it come to be made.
That'd be great. So
Awesome. Yeah.
I can tell you, I mean, now we're reflecting back to X-Men, but I was 10, 11 when that show was popular,
I was in
and I
middle school.
really knew season 1 very well. And now that I've been rewatching it, I'm a lot older. It's kind of not quite doesn't have the same effect on me it used
Yeah.
to, but I was somewhere in season 2 when now I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't remember any of this. So I must have picked it up and dropped it fairly quickly back then, 5th
Yeah.
grade or so. Anyway, I think all of these characters, Reed Richards too. I mean, they're all just multiverse characters. I don't know if they identified which of the multiverses they were from, but
838. I think they're all from 838 though.
all of
Yeah.
them are.
So even going back to Captain Carter, is she the same Captain Carter from What If, or is
No.
this another variant
No,
from?
she's not. That's a different variant. Because
So
the one
How do we know that?
because the one from What If is part of the the Guardians of the Multiverse. Like that's a different team. So she's part of that team with a different Doctor Strange. That's a sinister
Oh,
Doctor
right.
Strange. You know what I mean? So at the end they
From
form
What
their
If,
own
yeah.
kind of little team. So it's just a different variant of Captain Carter. I think they just wanted to introduce Captain Carter in live action. I guess they wanted to see it on screen. So it's just a
Yeah,
different variant.
This is not confusing at all, by the way.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's super
Yeah.
confusing. Like,
Oh, imagine
yeah.
trying to explain this to your parents. Like
I
it's
mean,
done now. Like, look,
your parents, try explain this to your kids because they're not gonna know what's what, man. I'm like,
they're better. Like they watched
I
What
don't
If,
know.
so my Reese is ready to go with What If. But he hasn't seen
Really,
WandaVision. So
they saw What If,
yeah,
and
they loved it. Like they
wow,
really liked it too. Like even Mia was digging. Oh, which one was it? Probably the Captain Carter one, but there was another one. I think Thor. It was the one that no one else liked.
Oh, Party
Thor and
Thor.
Captain
that's the
Marvel
one.
had an
That's the
episode.
one I didn't like. Yeah,
She dug that one. I was like, yeah, it was kind of
sure.
goofy. I
Yeah.
could see why she would like it. That was a year ago now. She was 10. So.
Doctor Strange was my favorite episode actually in
Mhm.
that series. That was the best
Great.
one. But yeah,
Yeah, good stuff.
that's
So,
actually kind of cool. I'm glad the kids dug it because I'm not sure kids would actually
nope,
uh, like that
they liked it.
because it is kind of dark. It has some really darker elements to it that.
Yeah, I don't know. These days, kids can take it. So I don't know if we want to get into. No, we're still talking appearances. We'll get into the dark stuff in a minute, I guess.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
all right, so
Black Bolt.
I was. Yeah, I didn't know who the hell that was. Sorry.
You didn't know who
No
Black Bolt
clue.
was?
Yeah.
Black Bolt. I know who he was
Yeah.
because
No.
I know they had a show a
The
couple years
Inhumans.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
never.
who actually? Did you actually watch any of
No,
that?
I never
when it
watched
came
the Inhumans, but I know the
I never
actor is
watched
the
it.
same.
Yeah.
It's the same actor
I
from the
didn't
show.
even know who was in that show. I heard the guy from Game of Thrones was in it. The creepy
Yeah,
dude.
the guy from the Battle of the Bastards. Yeah, the other one.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, yeah. But
That's all I knew about it.
And
I
Lockjaw,
never.
the dog. I know about the dog, the big mutant inhuman dog, Lockjaw. Was like his partner or
Yeah,
something.
didn't he have the tuning fork on his head or something,
I
or
think
his
something
collar?
like that. I don't know,
Yeah.
something similar, but
This is where I don't know the verse anymore. So like,
yeah.
yeah, I didn't know who the hell it was, and he has a tuning fork on his face. That was
Hmm.
weird.
Yeah, that's if someone that's like a if you read the comic books, you're gonna know who Black Bolt is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't. I haven't read the comics in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly though, do y'all read the comics? I don't think any of us do.
Up to date,
within
no.
last, oh
Yeah.
man, within, I would say, gosh,
20 years or
like
more.
15, 20 years, yeah. Because I remember me and Red were at one point in early 2000s, we started collecting again
Yeah.
or into it, but
That's
then
serious.
we just fell off it,
Yeah.
and I've been lost ever
Yeah.
since, man. I
I
don't know
I
what's
I got
collected.
rid of a lot
I
of them.
was beginning to collect in 2019, and then COVID hit, and I just like I'm not gonna go out and go to a comic
yeah.
book store and again. So
I got digital. I was realizing collecting is expensive, and I was like subscriptions, like everything else. I get the Marvel, what's it called, Marvel Unlimited.
right.
I was paying like $10 a month and still reading a couple, but if they had a deal, wait for Black Friday or Christmas or whatever, it's like $60 for the year. All the damn comics. You just anything you
Yeah,
want to look up if it has to be within the past 6 months, I think is the rule. You can't read those. You have to basically you're waiting for 6 months for new stuff.
Hmm.
No one likes the new stuff anymore anyway. You get it to read the old stuff so you can learn the good stories, you know?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
not
So
bad.
mhm.
Yeah. So we got Black Bolt, we got Professor X, we got Reed Richards, Captain Carter, and
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. So
The more,
Captain
I
Marvel was
thought it was
different.
cool.
Yeah. So she was the Carol Danvers
Rambo.
friend.
I can't yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
somebody Monica Rambo or was she the
Monica Rambeau's mother.
daughter?
Yeah.
daughter, right?
I can't remember the name of her.
Monica
Yeah,
Rambeau was the daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So and she was remind me, she was in WandaVision, right?
The daughter was. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yep.
was her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So it's funny because she was getting like TV powers or something like that bled off of Wanda.
She has a superhero name. Um, I forgot it. I think it's
Oh, so wait, they're not the same.
they're not
Okay.
this. Yeah. So
Yeah, because it's a different verse. Okay,
yeah.
got it.
Yeah, the Monica Rambeau is her own superpower. Like she has her own. I think she's gonna come up in the Marvels, the the the
Yeah,
the
cool.
Marvels thing they're gonna come out
Another
with.
show my
So
daughter wants to watch. See?
well, that's Miss Marvel. That's
Oh,
the show
oh,
thing.
The
The
Marvels is the
Marvels.
movie.
Yeah, the
Good God,
movie. Hmm.
getting crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of Marvel to
yeah.
keep up
See,
with.
this is part of what I thought the movie was lacking, that they could explain all this a little better, because it's very all over the place.
That's the part my kids are gonna be like, why? Like, because Mia loves Captain Marvel. She's gonna go that like she probably forgot that that's one of the other her friends or something, friend's daughter. So,
Yeah, I mean, I
um,
like the Illuminati were pretty cool, but
for the 2 minutes they're in it.
yeah, I'm not sure I like the way they handled them, especially the way they went down. I mean, I get they were supposed to die. That's fine, but I think it could have been executed just a little better. You know, I mean, knowing that we found out John is Mr. Reed, and all this stuff, and then we got Professor X, and it just, I don't know, the way they kind of met.
Yeah,
Okay,
Are
so
we talking spoilers now? We are,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So like
Yeah, the way they met their demise, they just, I don't know. The part of it was just like,
okay, so I feel like the reason why they kind of went that route with the Illuminati, so like in the comic books, I did a little research. The Illuminati is a group of arrogant people that think that they know everything. So like
right,
they're like that's why they were super cocky. That's why we heard Captain Marvel say, "Oh, we can handle your little witch," because in their minds, Wanda does not have the power potential that she has as she does in Earth 616. 838 Wanda, her power is probably equivalent to when she was in Age of Ultron. So it's like her powers are nowhere near compared to what they are now. So
yeah, I get they weren't expecting
they were
her to
not
be as
expecting her to be
powerful.
as powerful as
Yeah,
she
I
is.
and I understand that. That I get that. But
So it's just the way they died,
it's
very
still, yeah.
gruesome.
The only problem I had, because I heard that they gave a lot of crap to
Reed Richards to
Richards,
John Krasinski, yeah,
because he basically gave away
to
how,
defeat Black Bolt.
well, but the thing, it goes back to what you just said.
They didn't know.
They
They
didn't
had
know
no
how
idea she was
powerful
that
she was. That
powerful.
wasn't in his mind. They didn't think. Now, what bothered me was that after she killed Wanda, killed Black Bolt, and she killed Reed, the other two are just standing there watching this happen. I'm like, why don't you guys do something? Why are you just watching
They kind
your
of just
two
sat back.
fellow
Yeah.
team members get like annihilated like that? I mean, what's up? That was my only thing.
Yeah.
I mean, them dying, it was unfortunate, and I thought it could have been a little different, but
Yeah.
that part was the only part that bugged me. I'm like, man, guys, ladies, when I like step up, do something. Like, what the
I
hell?
wonder if it's like because it's like one or the other. Like they wanted to show how badass Scarlet Witch was in her true Scarlet Witch form, and that's why I think they went with let's go ahead and wipe him out quickly. Because if they put up a fight, then you'd have the other side going, no way, Scarlet Witch is way more powerful. She should have taken him out quicker. Because really, in the end, it's Mister Fantastic, Captain Britain, I guess she is. I don't know what they call her, Captain
Captain
Britain.
Carter. Yeah.
Carter, Captain
Right.
Carter.
Sorry, I still don't know who old Black Bolt was. So he's like, I'm learning who he is right
Yeah. Well,
now.
we saw his power when they did the flashback thing when they killed Doctor
Yeah,
Strange. Yeah.
at the time, I'm still like, okay,
Well,
like,
he killed Doctor Strange,
Yeah, he
right?
killed
He was
Doctor
the one
Strange.
who
yeah.
killed him. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So here's this kind of ties into all this, and you said it about you were disappointed with Doctor Strange. I kept thinking the whole time, what makes him so special right now that he is kind of the lead in this whole thing? In the end, it was like he wasn't Sorcerer Supreme. That was his buddy.
Yeah, by
All
default,
right.
as
Wanda.
he
Um,
appears, yeah.
yeah, I mean, in the end, he was literally a complete human who learned how to do this stuff. Granted, he was like a super good student. He
Yeah.
focused a lot and he studied every
Well, that's
day.
how most of
Okay.
the people at Carmitage come. They become sorcerers by learning it. They're not
Yeah.
necessarily born
They
with
just
it.
learn it. They're not born with it. It's
Yeah.
powers that it's magic and they learn how
Mhm.
to wield it. Um, so I'm thinking, okay, he's been through a lot with Thanos and all that good stuff. Done some multiverse hopping,
That
traveling.
that's another big problem with me. When it comes to Doctor Strange in this movie, because I feel
Yeah.
like that fight that he had with Thanos on Titan in Infinity War, he did a lot cooler badass shit than he did with
Oh yeah,
Wanda. He
that's
I
true.
feel like
Yeah,
he didn't even put up a fight with Wanda. I feel like he has a
yeah.
lot more potential.
Well, you know what? But you know what? I'm thinking he was trying to like talk Wanda down because he knows he's been with her, so he knows that there is good in her,
I
right?
guess, but
So
like Karmatage was ready to attack. Like
yeah,
like they
but
put full force defenses, man. Like
you have to look at it as like, okay, like Wanda is basically Vader. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You
I
have to look at it
guess.
that way. You know,
Careful now.
Doctor Strange knows her, and
Yeah.
she knows that there is good in her. You know that he's trying to like basically knock some sense in
Well,
her. Like, look, you can't be selfish enough to like do all this because you want to be with your kids that in this universe you don't even have. But it makes sense. I understand. It's funny. At first, I wasn't on board with her motivation. I thought it was kind of like, really, that's what she's doing this. But in a sense, I get what they were doing. If you could be happier in another universe
Universe.
than where you are now,
happy, very
yeah, I could
happy.
see why some people would want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So, I
what
mean,
you just said was going to be my answer. I forgot to jump in and say it, but we just met this Reed Richards, so I think they're trying to show his compassion and how he is not a fight first kind of guy. He's like, I'm giving you the answers to the test with trust that you're not going to do this sort of thing. I know we can talk you out of this, Wanda. And she's like, oh no, no, I'm just going to kill him right now. You just told me how to do
yeah,
it. Done. And he was
yeah,
like, well, shit, I didn't think you
yeah,
were going to be
yeah.
like that. I mean, that's kind of stupid strategically.
Yeah.
But it was just like Doctor Strange. If he could have fought better, perhaps Reed Richards could have, come in, guns blazing. But he approached it a little more softly, and it was a mistake. But
Yeah.
that's I think why the answer to that is.
Oh,
It's
Yeah.
not that they're like, oh, that was stupid of him. I think it's like, well, that's the direction they wanted him to portray.
what did
He's
you
a little
guys
more.
think of the Professor X death? The way that he died.
It was a little gruesome.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like I had a little problem with it. I feel like Wanda killed him too easily. When it comes to mind, like that's Professor X's thing. You know what I mean? He's always been. I think the only person equivalent to Professor X in mind was Phoenix, Jean Grey. I feel like in that universe, and I know Wanda has a Darkhold and all that stuff, but her powers are spread out amongst a bunch of other things, not just mind. You know what
I
I
don't
mean?
know. I mean, I don't know enough about Wanda. I guess I know. I mean, he's a mutant. So I mean,
They're
his
very scared
Yeah.
to say the word mutant. They're very
yeah. They
scared
don't
to.
say.
They don't say it.
What's up with that? Why don't they say that?
I think they're just scared to say it.
Well, at first they weren't saying it because at the time, 20th Century Fox owned the X-Men and
That
that
makes sense
phrasing
then.
was
Yeah.
used. But now it shouldn't matter. So I don't know why they wouldn't
I
say it.
think the second they say it, people are gonna expect X Men to pop up, and they don't want to do that yet.
Yeah,
So,
they're really holding him back.
so yeah, I feel like she killed him too easily. I don't know. It was kind of weird, but that's just me.
It just confused me because I didn't know like, okay, so this means that because at the time I was thinking, right, this is the Professor X from the X-Men animated series. That's what I'm thinking in my
I
mind.
I kind of like heard that outside of that might have been one of the things I heard. Vice actually saw with my own
Yeah.
eyes to prove that that's real.
Hmm.
You know, like sometimes you go into it hearing knowledge that isn't true yet, so it's a perception. You know, like
Yeah.
there are things that pointed at it for sure, but his face alone makes me think it's the Professor X from the old movies. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course, because
I mean
it's
they could have cast a new
yeah,
face, a new guy,
yeah,
and made him talk more like Professor X did. I don't know. It's. I mean, you see Patrick Stewart and he's Professor X, like, oh, it's that
It's that
Professor X.
Professor X. Yeah. Well,
right.
it's the same
But
thing
I
with
get you. The yellow chair,
yeah.
they
Well,
had the music. I think it's just more of, hey, it's a multiverse. It's an opportunity to do think that if you want, go for it. But there was nothing that proved that's what it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Except for the theme, the
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, well, the theme was the one that kind of like took me like, oh wait, so this has to be the guy from the X-Men animated series because they
Yeah.
played the theme. But
Yeah.
I don't know,
I kind of. I mean, it was weird. I swear. Before any of us saw the movie, I was thinking to myself, how cool would it be if they used that theme? Because I'd already started rewatching the show. So I feel like it was more of a how they used the old Spider-Man theme in the uh original, Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's just that's what I was talking about. I just wanted to use that theme with X-Men. It doesn't mean that Spider-Man is the same one from the 1960s animated series, you know, just because they used the theme song. I felt like that when I think X-Men, I feel like that theme song should just go with it from now on. That is what it needs to be, just like Spider-Man did it.
Okay.
So take it for what it is. You could look at it like that means it's the show, or I just think it identifies with X Men.
Yeah.
So
this is totally a little bit off topic, but we'll go back to the cameos and everything. But do you think that the split reaction to this movie, as far as like the audience and how they're perceiving this movie, do you think that Spider-Man No Way Home has something to do with that? Because Spider-Man No Way Home, I mean, it delivered in everything, every rumor that was said about that movie basically came to life. I mean,
Yeah.
it happened. All the Spider-Man were in there, all the villains were there, even Daredevil was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it delivered all around. So with this movie, The Multiverse of Madness, I mean, the rumors of all the cameos that were showing up and everything were crazy. And
It didn't. It
we
didn't
didn't,
really
we,
live.
we
Yeah.
didn't get we didn't get as much as we thought, not nearly as much as we thought. So do you think Spider-Man No Way Home kind of like
Spoiled us.
crippled expectations
Yeah.
to a whole other high level?
I
Because and
agree.
that's what I think.
Yeah.
And I don't think the movie was a bad movie. I
No.
don't, but I think that movie, No Way Home, really kind of like put people's expectations on a high level
Right.
that maybe they shouldn't have
Yeah,
been.
because not only did No Way Home exceed our expectations when it comes to people in the movie, it also had a nostalgic factor to it because
Right.
there was
Yeah.
Toby and Andrew and all the classic villains from those movies. So it met
Yeah.
both. This movie, the only expectations we had were just a bunch of cameos, and we only got maybe a third of the cameos that we heard of. You know what I mean? For Rhett, I think it's a different story because he didn't even hear about the cameos. So I think he is on a different level when it comes to the expectations of this movie. But for us, me and Buck, I feel like we wanted more because we heard about more. So
it's funny how much of an impact that makes expectations because I don't know why I should have. I guess I knew at some level it was going to have more stuff and there was going to be surprises, but I didn't think it was going to be the level of John Krasinski popping in.
yeah,
So that was
that
that
was my
blew me
favorite.
away, and I was like, "That's
Also,
more than satisfying." The fact that they gave me that, that was the equivalent of you threw in Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, but at least they had screen time and things to do. It wasn't just
it
a.
wasn't like five
I think
minutes. Yeah.
it was a cameo.
Well, you know what? Toby Maguire was another one that was heavily rumored to be in this movie as well.
Yes.
And I'm glad he wasn't though, because the rumor was that Wanda
Wanda
was going
kill
to
him.
kill him.
Yeah.
And I think, it's funny. I wonder if they actually shot it and they deleted it because they're thinking, you know what, this would be too much. I'm
Too
not
dark.
sure the audience can handle this. But
Mm,
yeah, that and now that you're saying about the Illuminati, that your research that they're a group of people that are very
arrogant.
into
Yeah.
themselves, arrogant. Man, how incredible would it have been to have Tom Cruise as the Iron Man variant? Because you
It
can
would have
tell, I
been
can see him.
perfect.
It would have been
It would
perfect.
have been
Him going without
perfect.
the mask. 'Cause you think, because Tom Cruise has like this kind of what's the word I'm looking for? This aura about
Yeah,
him that he
and
thinks he's like superior,
the thing
and
is,
in a
like,
good way. But I could totally see him pulling that
yeah,
off.
the thing is,
Yeah,
like,
very
Iron
colorful.
Man really should have been in this movie because the
Yeah.
the the robots that escorted Doctor Strange, those were Ultron
Yeah,
robots.
that was
They
Ultron's.
were
Yeah.
That's a
Ultron
good point.
robots,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
I mean,
Point.
so does that mean Reed
You saw that, I bet
Richards?
you were like,
Yeah, I mean, does
yeah,
that
we're
mean
gonna get
that Reed Richards is the one that completed the Ultron program? That Tony, or does Tony Stark just not exist? Why would Tony Stark not exist if Ultron was his idea?
Yeah.
You know what I
Well, they
mean? It
call they
was,
call Reed Richards the
smartest
smartest
man
man
alive. Yeah, he is.
alive,
Yeah, he
right?
is. Yeah,
Uh,
Is he?
maybe,
in
maybe.
the Marvel, in the MCU, he is. Yeah, he's smarter than
Yeah.
Tony Stark. And
I
Yeah.
never saw the go ahead. I never saw that last one, Fantastic Four, but I remember it was like
oh, don't
they
even
made the kid super smart, and it's like, what kind of kid knows quantum physics? That's ridiculous.
don't
It
even
was
mention
it was it
that
was it was
Fantastic Four.
garbage.
Yeah,
I pretend like it doesn't even exist,
yeah, forget
honestly.
that. Caca.
I don't even
Wait till they drop. Now that'd be funny because didn't Warmonger and Human Torch weren't that the same? Was it Warmonger? What was the name of the guy who like
Killmonger, Michael J. Fox.
Killmonger? Yeah,
Yeah,
same actor, right?
yeah, yeah, but he's not gonna be Human Torch. There's no way.
That would be a very. That should have been an opportunity to do a little multiverse
I
fun.
mean, look
though,
at
to be
Chris Evans. Chris Evans was also Human Torch.
right. Oh my god, that
There
would
was
have
another
been.
one that was heavily
That
rumored
would
too.
have been. That was a missed
Yeah,
opportunity for a laugh.
yeah.
Maybe you would have said that would be corny, but you need to. If you would have put 3 Human Torches in there, well, you get Chris Evans, him,
And the kid from Whiplash. Yeah, whatever his
but
name
then you
is.
have like Captain America and Killmonger coming too, and it's like 4 of them in a room looking at each other, like the whole Spider-Man pointing.
Yeah.
That that'd have been pretty
Well,
hilarious. Like, wait,
what about they had Hulk, they had Eric Bana, and they have Edward
yeah.
Norton's Hulk.
I would
You
have
know what I
loved
mean?
that.
That would have
I
been
would have
awesome.
came up with.
That would have
I
been
thought I came up with that on my own. I was like, you know what? We got to fix all the casting after Spider-Man. I was like, all that weird casting. It would be perfect to explain it. Just throw in everybody for just a one-time
One
shot,
time shot.
and we'll forever explain how we've recast everybody at that
exactly.
point.
That's why I think like the multiverse is the perfect like excuse to do that.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
could
yeah.
And they
they
didn't
could have
take
done a
it.
lot more with it.
Yeah.
They
All right, I get you there. I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's missed opportunities for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think we're done. I mean, it's a shame.
Not either.
No.
It should have
Yeah.
all led up to this because, as you said, Loki, hell,
That's another one
Endgame.
that I thought was going to be in this movie
They're
was
they're
Loki
still
and
doing
Sylvie.
a season 2 of What If also. They're still doing that as well.
There you
And
go.
they're
Well,
doing
What If
season
will
two,
probably be the sequel to
season
this.
2 of Loki as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another
Okay,
one that I
so
thought was going to be in this movie as well. Was going to be Loki and Sylvie because their
see what you're
whole
saying.
thing was
Yeah.
multiverse, like that. It
Look,
was
when we
timeline.
start, the first thing that we saw breaking timelines was Endgame. Timeline basically making more than one verse. And
Correct.
then I'm guessing Loki might have been the next one because it kept with the time.
It
theme.
kept
It's
with
really
the
unoriginal.
end game.
Like
It proceeded
there's
after
verses
Endgame.
with like
Mhm.
timelines and then multiple universes, that simultaneous universes and timelines, but they kind of are the same thing.
Yeah.
So we kind of kept going in this time verse, and then the first legitimate multiverse was Spider-Man: No Way Home, right? They talked about it in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
second Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Can't think of it.
I
Far
thought
from Home.
I thought WandaVision was the first because they had Pedro Pedro made,
Evan Peters.
but
Yeah.
it wasn't that at all.
Quicksilver.
It was just, which I
It was
thought was
Michael
really
Boner. I was like, what a tease, man. That's messed up.
tease.
Michael, what'd you
You
say?
really thought that
Michael
was
Boner.
the beginning of the multiverse.
That was the
you know?
joke. Michael Boner. That's the guy's name.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about.
In
No, no, no,
WandaVision, when the Quicksilver,
WandaVision.
the X-Men Quicksilver, they brought
Yeah,
it,
that's
Yeah.
right. That
That's
was
what I thought the beginning of the multiverse was that, and
but
it
it
wasn't.
wasn't. It was just a guy named Michael Boner. It wasn't anything significant
yeah,
at
but you know
all.
what? They threw that in there.
For a
That
reason.
could be. I would say because we know the world that exists now, where there are multiverses. I think it probably was. I think that's kind of it's implied.
Yeah.
I just don't think it was official. Kind of like you're saying with, hey, I think it's the animated series. There's some implications. It just may not be.
I think technically the first talk of a multiverse, which was supposed to be complete bullshit, was in Spider-Man Far From Home. When Mysterio when
Yes.
Mysterio mentioned
Right.
it, he even
Yeah.
called Earth 616, and he was full of shit. So
Yeah.
how the
Yeah.
hell did he know it was 616?
Yeah.
I was like, I think he used the same number. I
He
thought
did.
that last time.
He did use
did,
the
did he?
same exact number, and he said he was from
didn't know
Earth. I think he said he was from Earth 838, which is the universe of the Illuminati are in, if I'm not mistaken. So
That's crazy.
why the hell
I
would
didn't
he
even
even
know that.
say that if he didn't know what the hell he was even talking
Oh,
about?
if you noticed, I don't know if you. I saw this in a video, actually, YouTube video. The scene where Doctor Strange and America Chavez are jumping through
Mhm.
those multiverse timelines. There is one where it was a bunch of like flying robot cameras that this guy had a Mysterio.
Mysterio.
Oh,
Yeah,
the drone. Yeah.
bunch of those. So
The
I don't know what
drone,
that meant. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I didn't catch. Obviously, I didn't catch that when I saw it. I saw it in the
Yeah,
video.
because he was
But
just a disgruntled employee for Stark, right?
Yes, he worked for
yeah,
Tony. He made up the hologram
Yeah.
tech that Stark called the therapy thing barf or something like that. So he was kind of pissed
Barf.
off. Yeah.
Hold my life's work, barf. Remember that?
So another interesting thing that I think about what I'm happy they introduced when it comes to Reed Richards. Reed Richards mentions he has a family. He says yes, kids. They have a mother to take care of him. So we know that Reed Richards is going to have a lineage. Um, Nathaniel Richards is his great grandson, and Nathaniel Richards is Kang the Conqueror, which we see in Loki. So he's gonna be the big baddie in Ant-Man Quantumania. So you guys, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Right at the very end
The guy
of
at the very
Loki.
end, the guy variant. That's Nathaniel. His variant is called Nathaniel Richards. That's basically Reed Richards' great grandson.
okay.
Yeah, I don't see the resemblance.
Yeah, obviously not. Obviously
saying.
through marriage there must have been some mix up, but still, I'm happy they mentioned it. You know, how happy it was. It's there. Like Reed Richards is now in the
Yeah,
MCU and it's official.
connections are good.
Yeah.
Hey, I think at this point, anytime there's a incongruity, you could just say multiverse. You know, it's like a get out of jail free card at this point. It's like
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
that's
that
multiverse.
that's the that's the excuse for it. So
That's my reason Eric Bana
yeah,
looks different than Edward Norton.
Mm.
yeah. Although
So
funny, I thought Doctor Strange looked the same in all the from what I saw, all the
Yeah.
variants.
I
The
mean, yeah,
Defender,
every now
Doctor
and then you get a
Strange. Yeah.
crazy.
Every now
Yeah,
and then, it will,
Spider-Man,
yeah,
3 different Spider-Men, but
true.
Doctor
Yeah,
Strange is always the same.
yeah.
You'll get a variant every now and
I mean,
then.
Wanda was
Makes
always
sense.
the same too. Wanda
Well,
always looked the
yeah,
same.
yeah. And Loki had a different. Obviously, Loki was the one that had the most. I thought in the show. With
Yeah,
different.
Yeah.
in the show. And there were some that looked different too. So
Yeah,
That makes sense. There's going to be some where the path follows the same,
yeah.
heritage of those people, and then some where it's like, nope, something weird happened, and chaos theory. Butterfly flaps his wings, and you get
Chaos theory.
winter instead of spring.
Yeah,
I can't remember how Malcolm put it.
yeah.
um
All right. So what do we think about the directing of this movie, Sam Raimi,
I
and what he put
mean,
out?
All right,
Evil
What,
Dead, a lot of
Evil Dead in
yeah,
Marvel.
reference.
That's what we got.
yeah.
Yeah,
A PG-13 Army of Darkness.
yeah.
Uh,
No, I saw Army of Darkness in it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that
I mean,
was
this was
pretty cool.
probably
Evil Dead,
Marvel's
like, the
scariest
red
movie.
haze. There's like the red
I
fog.
think it was the
Yeah.
scariest Marvel movie. I think I'll go with that. I would go with
Did
that.
you did you catch moments in her mind where it's like the red fog coming and the camera's doing like this windy tilt? I was like, that is so
Mhm.
Evil Dead. That is the
Well,
oh
that
my god. It was,
happened with when Professor Xavier died, right? Where
yeah,
we behind him when you saw the I was like, oh, this is
this is straight up Evil
completely
Dead.
separate.
I
Yeah,
like the nods. I don't know. Maybe I could be a little what do you call it, biased on this because I like all of it, but it didn't bother me. I thought it was enough to be like I could see his nods to his old work and his legacy in this movie.
Well, I mean, Bruce
But I
Campbell.
still felt Marvel. Yeah, Bruce Campbell, you throw him in. You
Mm,
throw the
you
Spider-Man
know,
car, the car from the Evil Dead, which Uncle Ben drove,
yeah.
which was
yeah,
floating around at one of the plazas. Like, there's the damn car. His hand, you just yeah.
When his hand
Bruce-
was possessed, just like in Evil Dead. Yeah.
that's
but
good.
honestly, I thought this was the weakest Bruce Campbell cameo that he's done. I didn't. It wasn't great. When it
It was
happened,
really sporty.
but when it
Papa
happened,
pizza.
my theater was silent. They didn't know what to think of it.
Oh,
They're
they don't
like,
know who he was. Yeah, of course.
no,
Yeah.
not so much what he was. The joke of it. No one really like
Oh yeah.
a reaction. My theater
Hey,
never really happened. They're like,
let's
okay.
be real though. Right now, would you not love a little bowl of those pizza balls? That shit look good, right?
They did look
That
pretty
looked
good.
good. Yeah, that looked good.
Oh, I was like, damn, that looks yummy. I was hungry at the time too.
I was hungry
Yeah,
too. Yep. They did look good.
pizza balls.
So, the voices, like the Stephen Strange, like that was a very
Evil
Army of
Dead.
Darkness
Yeah. Army
voice.
Darkness.
Yeah, either one, yeah. Oh, I know. That brought me back. The one thing I thought was a little, I didn't know what to think of it, and I haven't decided yet, but I think I'm leaning towards it was kind of corny, was that weird, like, sheet music
Oh, I was just
fight
gonna
they ended up
say
doing.
that. You beat me to it.
Yeah.
I
The
hated
two
that.
Doctor Stranges were fighting, and,
Yes.
like, the music notes, he was like, shooting music notes at him from the
Yes,
music.
Yeah,
I thought
yes,
that was
yes,
the
I didn't like
weakest
that.
part of the whole movie. The
I didn't
weakest
like
part of the
that at
whole
all.
movie.
Yeah.
I don't
You know,
know.
it's funny. It's funny going back to it now. I love the first act, and I liked a lot the third act. The middle, a lot of it, for some reason, I found kind of boring. There's parts of it. The Illuminati part was great. Yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah,
entertaining. After that, I kind of I found myself kind of daydreaming. I'm like, I don't know why.
really.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
It
mean,
was
out
like
of all the
I think
things Doctor Strange can do, why did they concentrate so much on this musical note? I know they were trying to make a bit out of it, but like, I think it went on a little too long, in my opinion.
it was a
yeah,
little weird.
it was
Very weird,
weird. Yeah.
especially with the Doctor Strange who has the Darkhold. Like he has Darkhold powers, very similar
Yeah,
to Wanda. You know what I mean? Like, why the hell is he playing with sheet music right now? Doesn't make any
Yeah.
it's a little
sense.
strange.
But yeah, that was probably one of my biggest complaints of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had to cut apart, it'd probably be that. That would have
Yeah.
hit the editing room floor for me.
100%.
I've decided. I was like first I was like, this is kind of cool, and then like, I don't know if it is or not. You know.
Leia demands your attention.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think she wants to go outside. There was a bunch of foxes, baby foxes, out front earlier. She's like, I want to go see them. You're gonna get ticks. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Um. What other negatives do we have about the movie besides the Doctor Strange fight?
Yeah, so I like a lot what Sam Raimi did, but there's times where it felt like it was taking me out because his directing style
Yep, I feel that.
just it took me out of the film.
Yeah.
It kind of made me forget I was watching an MCU movie, which it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it did distract me.
Yeah, it's a fine line. You know, you have to walk between sticking with the not the what do you call it, like the
The Marvel formula.
tone of the MCU
Yeah.
Yeah.
versus giving the director enough freedom to kind of make it a little different. I do want it to be a little. I'm a little biased. I think he may have walked that line and accidentally stepped a little too far in the Sam Raimi, which works for me, and I get it. It's not gonna work for everybody because that's a palette. You know, you gotta appreciate that, or you're just like that felt weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you don't know, like there's a lot of new generation that probably has no idea what Army of Darkness or Evil Dead is, or have any idea he directed the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
So I get you, and you could say the same about my other favorite, Taika Waititi. I know you would agree with that because he is a very much, you can tell it's a Taika Waititi movie when that happens. You could
Yeah.
tell when it's a James Gunn movie. You know, they all have their own thing, and
Yeah.
some people will flock towards what they like naturally. And then you've got the Russo brothers. Like that's a very grounded feel to it, which I like fine, but I actually started out not loving Winter Soldier as much as everyone else seemed to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I really
That's fair,
like
yeah.
what was the third Captain America?
Civil War.
Civil War. I
Yeah.
love that one. That was the one where I'm like, I like these guys. And then when I knew they were doing Avengers, I was like, this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, let's just look at like very extreme, like Taika Waititi, Sam Raimi. The Russo brothers have their thing, but I feel like they because they became the Avengers directors, the big Thanos story arc, it turned into kind of what you expect out of Marvel. Um, so I get it. I think he's one of those examples of a lot of those directors gravitate towards the Marvel MCU tone. I think there's a few that kind of are a little further outside that bubble, and they have a little more. They whether they're allowed or not, they kind of take those freedoms a little further to satisfy what they want to get out of it. I'm always on the fence about that unless if it doesn't work for me, then I'm not happy with it. And that's the just to take a moment here. That's the same thing in Star Wars. It's like I felt like the tone needs to stay here and don't leave that. For Star Wars, I feel like you mess with that, you're in trouble.
Right.
MCU, I feel like there's so much variety. There you have a little more room to
Yeah,
expand.
when it
You know,
comes to Marvel movies, I feel like this one was probably, besides Eternals, I think this one was very far from like a regular Marvel film. It didn't really feel like it that much because of Sam Raimi. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I still felt like
it felt Marvel.
it felt like the MCU, but there were times where his directing style did feel like, yeah, this is Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it worked. But like for example, let's go back to Star Wars. But I'm a big fan of Robert Rodriguez. I think he's a great director. He's done a lot of great stuff. I don't think he worked well with Star Wars though. With Book of Boba Fett, he directed about 3 or 4 episodes
Yeah.
that just did not feel right.
Yeah.
I mean, he directed that one great episode of Mandalorian season 2, which was like 20 minutes of Boba Fett. But besides that, the rest what he's done for Star Wars, it's not a good mix. And I'll say
terrible.
it's
Yeah.
not. It's not a good mix.
I think you did the first one, and that was okay to me. The first episode, I thought that was fine. I think even the second, I don't know. But then, like, as we all know, the cyberpunk kids in the middle, he went from like desperate, like a PG-13 Desperado to Spy Kids. That's
Right.
what
Yeah.
that was the range in between episode 1 and like 4.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so
that's what I'm saying. So in his case, it didn't work at all. It just was not a good fit. With Sam Raimi, I thought for the most part he
Yeah,
did get
it
right.
did-
I
it
mean,
did
there was
that right.
times where he did go
melded
away,
better.
but I think I think it was a good mix. I thought it was fine.
Yeah. So in
I
the
thought-
end, we all liked it. We gave it a high score. A
Yes.
7 or an 8 is pretty damn
Yes.
high on all of our scales. But I see, like, I am actually, because of this talk, I appreciate more what you guys have said when you use a title like Multiverse of Madness, and we've been getting multiverse from the Loki show and some of the tastes in the. You kind of looked at it like in Spider-Man, the last one, it was like, holy crap, this was about to explode.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, but it's going to in this next movie. It's going
Yeah.
to go freaking berserk.
Right.
It kind of did, but it didn't go as berserk as
But you know
now
what?
that I'm.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I
That's
just
fine.
want to go back to what you're saying about No Way Home. See, I thought what happened in No Way Home was gonna go directly
Yeah,
link.
they didn't even bring that up.
and
Did
it
they?
had nothing to do with No Way Home. It was
That
more
is
about
it.
America.
When it
you
comes
know, about-
to this phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that's what really worries me, is that none of these movies are really connecting into like a finite like time, because
Right,
I think the only connection I ever saw was Black Widow led it directly into Hawkeye. But besides that, nothing else really connects. Eternals doesn't connect to anything, and they went God knows where. When are we going to see Shang-Chi again? I thought they would have at least brought some
Right.
aspect of Shang-Chi into this, because Wong was training Abomination in that movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when he was up there fighting those Abomination-sized monsters, that
Right.
was with Scarlet Witch, I thought, oh, he's going to bring Abomination. They're going to fight. It would have been cool. Nothing happened. So what was that for?
Right.
You know?
Well,
So I
a
don't
new
know. It's
topic.
just... That's a difference.
They named the phases of the MCU, and I don't remember any of them. But like, basically, Endgame was the close of one phase, right? Or was the Ant-Man that followed it? I don't remember anymore.
I think the Spider-Man that followed it was the end of that phase.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
The end of it,
Yeah.
Far From Home. Okay,
Yeah.
so what was that? Phase 3 or something?
Phase 4?
Or who knows?
I think we're on phase 5 right
So
now.
I know we're in phase 5.
This is
We're in
phase
phase
4.
4.
Okay, this is phase
This-
4.
This is phase 4. Yeah.
Okay, you made a great point, Marco. That you know what? There's not a whole lot of glue to this phase.
There's
like
not.
it's just
There's not. It's everywhere.
We're going over here. We got the show. We got WandaVision. We got Loki. We got Shang-Chi, Black Widow, Hawkeye. It's just kind of multiverse. It's just a bunch of.
Yeah.
That's
a good point.
Nothing is connecting. Nothing. And
Oh God. Oh God.
What?
We're entering the Star Wars sequel.
Twilight
phase.
Zone. Oh no!
Thanks
No,
to the MCU. Oh God, no.
Oh man.
Oh jeez.
It's kind of that, all right, let's relate to that though, because there was an unclear point after episode 3, before Clone Wars maybe, where we're just kind of like, what happens now? Like, I don't know. Books and video games, is that what we have left?
Pretty
But
much.
then Clone Wars happened, and it was like, okay, this is different. Oh well, throw it in here, it's different.
Yeah.
And at first, I wasn't a huge Clone Wars fan. It took
No
a
one
couple
was.
seasons,
Yeah.
and everyone started talking about it, and then I'm like, I guess I have to check this out. And man, I've got through it. I was like, this was great. And then none of us thought it was actually going to become good canon. We're like, it's like the good books, like the original. I'm getting way off topic here. The original Thrawn trilogy was so good, and we're like, that'll never come to pass. Clone Wars, I was like, this is really good. It's a shame they'll never incorporate this in anything. And man, did they?
Did they?
And they actually, that was Star Wars at its best the past couple of years, is in making Clone Wars and
Clone
Rebels.
Wars,
become a thing.
Rebels, yeah.
So let's try to say Marvel is in that phase right now.
Yeah, I hope
It's just a
so.
little scary
Because they've come out with shows and there's still no glue. So it's just like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's scary. It's scary what I mean.
It's scary, but the fact that they opened up the multiverse just gives them free like access to basically whatever, and then just go back to the point. Well, it's the multiverse.
They don't have to answer anymore.
They don't have to answer anything.
Oh God, that's not good. Don't
You know?
J.J. Abrams this thing and just throw a bunch of shit up in the air and
Yeah.
well, someone else can answer that. I don't have to do that.
Yeah, please, for the love of God.
You've already seen signs of it in this movie because, like you said, when they were mentioning that this, what was it? The number you said about this is the
616 and
right,
838.
and that's not even clear right now because we've heard different,
Different
answers. To
universes,
that.
different
So,
answers. Yeah, it's very,
right,
very.
so
It's
that could be the beginning of like, okay, so see, no one's consulting anybody now, so that's not good,
I mean, even the end of this movie. I mean, we see Clea, who is in the comic
Oh yeah,
books.
wait, what? Who is that, by the
Yeah,
way?
I had no. I was like, "Ooh, Charlize Theron." All right, but that's all I. That's
That's
all
all
I.
I knew.
That's
Charlize
literally all
Theron.
I
She
said.
looks,
So
Oh,
her
look at
no,
name,
she
that.
still looks good. That's all I keep thinking.
her name is Cleon, and when she opened that rift into a different dimension, that was the dark dimension. We've seen the dark dimension before because it was in Doctor Strange 1. That's where
Yeah.
Dormammu
Well,
resides,
Mamu.
and she is actually Dormammu's niece, and she is
Why is
also
it gonna be niece?
in
That's the
in,
weirdest
in the
thing to me.
comic book she's also Doctor Strange's wife.
Yeah, that I looked that up afterwards,
Yeah,
but I found out that's his
yeah,
wife.
Ah,
she's
so he
gonna.
found his woman.
Yes, but they literally just go off into the dark dimension, and who the hell knows when we're gonna see them again? Considering how much crap is going on in the MCU right now, so it's just again
Yeah.
no glue. That's another worry about. No, nothing is gonna continue. Who's? I mean, I know that I'm sure Kane the Conqueror is probably gonna be the big baddie comparable to Thanos in my book. What I know about Kane the Conqueror, but I don't see any connections yet. That's
Yeah.
just it's scary. So I don't
Well,
know where
look,
it's
I
gonna go
think it's
from there.
safe to say that we're not going to get another Avengers kind of movie in the MCU. I think we're entering the phase of they're going to have like just different, different ways they're going to go with different types of franchises in the MCU. I don't think we're going to have one big movie with all of them together again like we did before.
I mean,
I
I
think
mean,
they're
I
gonna
think
double.
obviously nothing's gonna beat the original six
Yeah.
or the Avengers, of course, but like they're leading up to something. I mean, why else would Falcon
I
become
I
Captain
think they're
America?
leading up to a different, like little different things that are kind of not necessarily all connected.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I mean, there's got to be a connection somewhere. I mean, Eternals, the idea of Eternals, Kit Harington's character, he's gonna become the Black Knight, and in the comic books, I'm pretty sure the Black Knight is kind of a new
I don't know
version
who that
of
is.
the leader of the Avengers. The one when that sword at the end of Eternals, the ebony
Yeah,
sword.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
was.
yeah.
I thought that was Blade related, wasn't it?
Well,
Well,
that was
Blade was at
Blake.
the end, yes.
Yeah, he was talking to him.
Oh, I don't know. That's the
Hmm.
thing. I don't even know who Black Knight is. They're getting to a point now where I'm like, I don't
Oh
even know.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
if you want to find out what's gonna happen, basically, you just have to look it up yourself. It's not
it's
gonna be
I know,
gonna
but I
happen.
don't
answered in the
wanna.
movies.
I don't
I
wanna
know. I'd
know.
rather just know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, the past what couple years we've had Spider-Man, all right, Doctor Strange now, Spider-Man, Eternals. If you want to look at the shows, Moon Knight, I have not seen that yet. Black Widow, Shang-Chi,
Hawkeye
Loki, Hawkeye, yep. Uh, Captain America, what is it?
and
Yeah.
Falcon, Winter
Falcon
Soldier.
Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Loki, WandaVision, Eternals. We're probably doubled down now. Where are we going? What's next? And we got Thor,
Thor: Love and Thunder is
Guardians,
the
Black
next
Panther
thing.
2,
Yeah.
Black Panther 2.
Marvels, Miss
Miss
Marvel.
Marvel.
We got a decent amount coming. What else is? What are we missing? That's
Guardians of the
coming up.
Galaxy, right? That's another one
Ant
that's
Man.
coming out.
Yeah,
Ant-Man Quantumania, the third
Ant Man.
Ant-Man
That's a
movie. Hmm.
man. That might be our next opportunity for
That might
like.
be the next piece of glue because Kang the Conqueror is
Yeah,
supposed to be the villain in that movie.
yeah. I mean, so it's kind of funny. I didn't think about that, but there's the time sort of. If you want to split like multiverses and stuff, there's like the timeline one, which is Loki and Endgame, and then you got multiverses, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. I'm trying to make a three, like an arc. And this is three parts. This is timeline over here, multiverses on the top half, and then down here, I didn't even think about it. This is the quantum verse,
Well, the
because
quantum realm is how they time travel, and they basically explain that through
shit, you're right.
the timeline,
All right,
basically.
so it's
So
more like half. Quantum and time is
mm,
one. That's physics,
yeah,
right? Space and time, and then multiverses is like splitting dimensions, the multi-dimensional. So it's really more like two
yeah. But then the
planes
sacred
of
time breaking the sacred timeline opened up universes. So it's
branches, as they.
it's it's almost like they're the same in the Marvel universe. I don't know.
You kind of thought this multiverse movie would have been closer to that, and as we keep going back to, it was more about Scarlet Witch
It
and
was more about
Wanda.
Scarlet Witch, yeah.
Yeah, it was really her movie. It should have. I almost want to say
It
it
should have
should have
been
been
called the Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch.
Maybe, yeah,
Jesus.
maybe if they would have marketed differently, maybe not even call the movie that, the Multiverse of Madness, maybe it
God,
would
yeah.
like, been better that way. Because you're right. The movie really didn't have that much to do with the multiverse as
Or
much as
Doctor
they made it
Strange.
so
or Doctor Strange. I'm sorry. It
yeah,
didn't really have a
Yeah,
lot to do with him.
if you flip that, think Sam Raimi, witches and kind of the horror element, it should have now I'm really like changed my mind. It should have been a Scarlet Witch movie, not
It
a
should
Doctor
have
Strange
been.
movie.
It should have been.
Damn. Oh, I didn't think of that. All right, well,
Caca.
hmm.
what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? There's nothing we
What are you
can
gonna
do.
do? It is what it
Final thoughts about today's topics. What do we have to say?
Oh man.
is. It just goes back to, where is this all going?
Where's it all going? No,
Where's it all
We don't
we
going?
just
know.
have to wait and see
We don't
at this
know.
point.
We're getting like the DC version of a universe now where it's like movies that may relate, but they're more like standalones, they're fine on their own. They're really good on their own, actually. I liked Eternals. I like this movie a lot.
I like Eternals as well. Yeah.
Um,
Eternals is iffy with me a little bit.
oh really? I thought you liked it.
I liked it watching. It wasn't my favorite. It's still. I think I have my problems with it. Definitely not my
It
top
wasn't
10.
as
So
epic as I thought it would be, but I enjoyed it.
yeah,
I actually thought it was more epic than I thought it was gonna be. Believe it,
Cool.
it surprised the hell out of me.
I saw
And
it twice in the theater. I liked it that much.
yeah,
Yeah. I got a
yeah,
T-shirt now. Should have worn
yeah.
it. Hmm. All right. Yeah. I guess final thoughts. I've stand
Um,
with my 8.
I
It's
stand
a.
with my 8 out of 10.
I
So
would. It's to me. I think it's got to have what do you call it? Multiple viewing, repeat value,
yeah,
rewatchability. Is that
I would watch it one more time. I don't think I need to watch it anymore after that. I don't think
I
it has that much of
yeah
repeat value.
I
Only
would
because you want to find kind of like the Easter
yeah.
egg.
I want to
But
find Easter eggs. I want to find. I want to learn more and feel like I got it.
mm,
yeah,
I
you know,
wasn't lost. That's a good thing. I didn't feel lost at all in this movie.
no, I didn't feel lost either.
I didn't feel lost. I it kept my attention for the most part.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
entertaining. It was an entertaining film.
One thing I didn't talk about. I'm sorry, just going back right quick. I didn't care too much about Rachel McAdams, Christine, all that much. I thought they really lacked actually chemistry. I didn't really feel that line where he said, "I've loved you in
In every
every
universe,
universe."
yeah,
It would have hit so much more if I felt that. I didn't feel anything for them.
yeah.
I was like, I didn't care. But that's
I
just a
don't
little
know.
thing.
I,
Little
I
little
I was
think
thing that I didn't
more.
really
the
care about. But
I
yeah.
think the Doctor Strange in the What If series had a stronger connection to Christine.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah,
I could see his obsession there, but here I didn't feel it at all. It's
yeah,
almost like there were two. Yeah, I don't
See,
know.
I built off of that though. I took what I knew from What If, and I was using that as like that same mentality of like I know how much he cares for her outside of this universe. Like it's a thing. It's just in this world, it's not working. And
yeah.
by the end of it, I was like, man, I kind of hope they just hook up. But now that you've told me,
Yeah,
Miss,
well,
Miss Cleo,
it wasn't so much him. I kind of felt it from him. I didn't feel anything from her though. I felt she was
she
kind of
was standoffish and
just
defensive. Yeah,
dry. There wasn't much. Yeah, it wasn't enough fire. It was like
Huh.
that line would have been. I think would have been classic if I would have felt something for them, and
Well,
I just didn't feel anything. But what are you gonna do?
what are you
What
gonna
are
do?
you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It is what it is.
Gabagool.
So
All
yeah,
right. So what do we? If we get a chance to meet next week, hopefully same time, same place.
Yes. So
Um,
next week's podcast, we will be talking about what Star Wars movie is the worst Star Wars movie.
in the sequel trilogy.
In the sequel
I mean,
trilogy,
well,
yes. I mean, in
but
our
you
in
could
our
say,
opinion, it's in the sequel trilogy anyway.
yeah.
So we're gonna be debating whether it's gonna be Rise of Skywalker or The Last Jedi.
Force Awakens doesn't get a shot, huh? It's got to be 8 or
Well,
9.
Force Awakens.
Gets immunity because it started it all, but it was the most innocent one out of the two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it. I don't think
It did. It was the one that did the least damage of the
Oh,
three.
Yeah, yeah. So next week
It
we're
was
gonna be
the
talking
one that was
about.
talked about.
Yeah, next week we're gonna be talking about what's worse, Rise of Skywalker or Last Jedi. So if you want to stay tuned for that, join us next week, next Thursday.
oh, this is gonna be fun.
May...
Oh, it's gonna be Thursday.
We may have
Well, I
a
post them on
surprise.
Thursdays.
Yeah, we may have
Oh,
a surprise
right.
guest. I've got a good friend might be interested in having taken part in this, so we might have guests here and there.
No, that's good. Yeah, we plan to have guests on the show from time to time.
Yeah.
So yeah, next week, stay tuned for the debate. What's gonna win? What's gonna lose? They're both gonna lose, in my opinion. But
Yeah, it's
no matter who wins, we lose.
yes.
So
so sad.
it's sad, but
All
it's
right.
true.
Well, thank you so much for watching the Worst Fans podcast, and we'll see you next week. Adios.